guy.
I recognize that.
Yeah.
That's a crossover video.
Go, Kent. A little more beat. Right. So we got the great Kent Aberle in the studio with us today.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Doing a little drum show off video there.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, man. That's fun.
It is fun. Big stuff. So we already had about 3 great conversations before we hit record. So we'll have to jump back on those. I was telling you earlier. So you're touring with Kristian Bush.
Yep.
And you guys hitting the road again anytime soon?
Well, they're finishing up the Sugarland reunion.
Right.
So we've started doing some like demos and stuff for some new records and stuff. So it's all kind of up in the air, but I imagine we'll be out in the next year or so again. So it's been a nice break though, man. We hit it hard for 5 years.
Yeah.
So we've been off for about a year, and it's been good, man. It's been great.
So I stared at that record back when Best Buy still had records and still had their new records. Buy it now. I probably 10 times looked at that record. I was like, okay, I'll get it. Normally, like Mick Jagger, normally you get a good band, you get a good thing going, and then you do the solo record, and it's not so good. I grabbed it, and it's still in my top rotation of records. I can start at the top and just, especially if I'm on a trip, just run that entire record and love every track on it. So it's a very underrated record in my opinion.
Right
but
on.
It tours well, I hear.
It does tour well, man. It's interesting. It's like, I think, being out on the, like when we started touring, it's like, it was my first big jump as far as touring with a country artist.
Right.
Like I grew up playing around country bands, when I was like early 20s and stuff, but it was country.
It was 2-stepping,
yeah,
3/4.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and it's just really amazing because Kristian's, the thing he does better than anybody else is that he doesn't really fit in a mold. He has his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so cool to see audiences, like, especially like when Trailer Hitch came out, seeing audiences react to that and playing in front of some massive crowds and doing the TV shows. And, it was just interesting because it's like we'd be playing on these stages, these huge festivals, and like the band before us would like bring out this giant track rig, like with Ableton and everything, and like lights and special lighting and stuff. And then the band after us would like have all these like lights sitting there behind us, all these special effects lighting and all that stuff. And we would roll out with drums, Benji Shanks on a small amp, Kristian on like a Vox amp, Brandon on a Nord, and Kevin Spencer on bass.
Yeah.
And it was just like, sometimes I wouldn't even use a riser. And we would just, it was just a party, man. It's such a pleasure to play with a good guy like that.
Yeah.
He's a great boss. Great boss.
He's I give this example. I had a studio experience after Achy Breaky Heart came out, and Bill Ray Cyrus went and did his second record. And he did a record, and he hated it, and he walked away from it, and recorded it himself. And that's the record he won the Grammy on. And so I was interning at a studio in Nashville, and he comes in, and he's the nicest guy ever. Like, just a sweetheart of a guy, just a normal, down-to-earth, like, one of these guys, after a few days, you do anything for him. Like, just immediate like that. And so he stays around forever, and he did a TV show when he wasn't a great actor, and he did, had the, Hannah Montana thing, which, by the way, they were turned down for a straight year and they sent a demo once a week for a year to get that gig. And then the only reason they do it is if he would jump in there. So good people, there's so many good people. And you look at Kristian Bush and you look at who's in his touring band. Everybody from Atlanta, all the local folks, taking good care of all the local folks.
Yep.
Not dipping into the Nashville or the LA pool and going with a bunch of gunners, but going with local people. And you don't need the gunners because, everyone you just mentioned in that band. Yeah. Benji Shanks, you, Spence.
We're in Atlanta, man.
Dude, yeah.
Atlanta, it's it's interesting. It's like when you go to Nashville and you play around Nashville and people ask you where you're from and you say Atlanta. Atlanta has there's some real respect for Atlanta as far as musicianship goes.
Yeah.
You know, and Atlanta's got a different soul to it than a lot of other cities. You know, like every city has its own thing, and Atlanta has its thing. You know, and it's just, yeah, man. It's it's the fact that he stays true to here and brings out guys from here. It's just it's a blessing, man. You know, it's a real blessing.
He does his demos here. I think it was for this record. He was doing demos with a buddy of mine, Shannon McGelly. He did a few. He keeps it local, but and then how people talk about you. I mean, I've only been in the Atlanta music scene, so I can only reference how Atlanta music scene people talk about each other, and it can get brutal. Never a bad word about Kristian.
Nope.
Ever. Nothing but a lot of just human respect. Him and his brother Brandon. I'd love to be at Thanksgiving at their table.
Oh my God.
Brandon at one point we were at the Grammys and Brandon Kristian, he probably doesn't. I've only talked to him twice, and I was telling him I had 2 talks with him. I said, "Hey man, what's it like to be in 2 super groups, Train and Sugarland at the time?" And he's like, "Dude, it's brutal." It's a high class problem though. And then the other thing I had with him was how half of a Train record I hate half the songs, and then the other half of the songs changed my life, and I can't stop listening to them. It's like it's one or the other. Freaking love it. It's amazing. Or it's like, oh God, next.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now he toured with his brother. He had 2 great brothers. I'd love to be at that table because there's not one let down there. There's got to be one kid. They got to have another kid at the table. It's like I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
They're good guys, man.
Yeah,
they're good guys. You know, Brandon is the music director, so he's kind of, you know, when I first joined the band, Kristian was like, "This is my brother Brandon," and Brandon is who I auditioned with. Like I didn't even get to audition. Kristian wasn't even at the audition.
Oh wow,
so he's busy, man.
Yeah.
That dude is the hardest working, busiest guy I've ever been around in my life. There's a reason why he's successful. It's because the dude wakes up and works.
Yeah,
he does not take a day off. And so when I did the audition, I met Brandon. And then once the gig started going, Kristian was like, "Brandon is the lobbyist for the band. So anything that goes to Kristian would go through Brandon."
Right.
And it's, you know, man, it's like Brandon's going to be like, he's going to be a big time politician someday, man. I'm telling you, dude, the guy is just brilliant. He's been so active in the Recording Academy and everywhere else, man. It's like he is on top of everything that's happening. He knows exactly what's happening. He knows when things are happening. I don't know if he can tell the future yet, but I'm willing to bet on it that he's just holding out on us.
He certainly knows quality when he sees it because he's attached himself to some pretty awesome bands.
It's fun, man.
But and again, with nothing but accolades, and there's not one person that doesn't like working with either one of those guys.
To me, man, that's the secret to it, man. That's the secret to any success of anything. It's like, you know, you can be the greatest something. You know, it can be singer, it can be musician, it can be basketball player, it could be anything, you know. If you treat people with respect and you promote kindness, happiness and kindness.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing that can go wrong for you. You know, if you're an ass, it doesn't, all that other stuff that you do that's great goes out the window because that overshadows everything great that you could possibly do.
Yep.
You know, if you treat people like crap, then it just, you know, that completely overshadows anything good that you could possibly do.
Yep.
You know, I know musicians personally, I'm sure you do too, that you're just like, man, that guy is a great freaking guitarist, drummer, whatever. He's just such a jerk.
Yeah.
And that always comes out, you know? So it's like, yeah, man, it's, you know, that the beautiful thing about the Nashville touring scene that I've been part of for a while now, at least for the last 5 years with Kristian, is that everybody on those stages, you'd meet occasionally, you'd meet a dude, you're just kind of like, okay, whatever, bro. But I mean, the majority of the people, man, the musicians, the artists, like some of the biggest artists that I've hung out with, man, they're just all so genuine and they're so kind, all the way down to like you know, the sound guy to the guy who's literally the rigging freaking cables. You know, it's like this past week, a couple weeks ago, James Hall, who I play with, who's another just amazing human being. James and I went out and hung out with Marilyn Manson.
Oh, what was that like? How was that?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
He's a cool dude, man. He's just a dude, you know? He's Marilyn Manson, but he's a dude. Him and James have known each other since Marilyn was a teenager. And so, like, we're all hanging out, and we're sitting on the side of the stage, and, you know, this guy comes up and he goes, hey, can you guys, like, make sure there's a path right here? And it was Marilyn's vocal tech. So basically his job, he has his own board, and he's, like, running Marilyn's vocal mix through the PA, which is loud as hell. Like, he's got monitors all over the stage. But his main job is every time Marilyn drops a mic, he would have to, like, grab a new cordless mic, turn it on, check it, make sure it works, and then take it out there and put a new mic up. So he literally had like 6 microphones
just at the ready
that he was just have all in this rotation. And at the end of every song, he's like, yeah, you know, and all of a sudden you hear him. And he goes, and I turn around, I go, that's your cue. And he goes, excuse me, guys. And he was it's like you could see a guy having to do that all night long.
Yeah.
Kind of become a jerk. He was the sweetest dude the entire night. He smiled about it. He laughed about it. And he's been on tour with Marilyn now for freaking years. And it's like, I'm like, man.
Yeah, and you think he's been exposed to some of the biggest names. Like, he's hung out with Alice Cooper, this guy. Yeah. Like, you get to know all these big dudes.
You know, and it's like, man, it's people in the end, you know, it's like I tell people all the time, like when I do my drum clinics and stuff, and I get to talk to like college kids and kids that are coming up, you know, and they say, yeah, man, what's the secret to getting gigs? What's the secret to being successful in anything? And I'm always saying, like, man, treat people with respect and be kind to people. Because the thing is, you can be the greatest musician on the face of the earth. If you're a jerk, no one's going to want you on the bus with them.
Yep.
And it's, you know, because in the end, man, like, you know, when we tour on a bus, everybody's always like, oh, man, that must be so glamorous. It's like, it is. It's a beautiful bus with 11 people on it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we got 12 bunks and 11 of them are taken up, and we have one bunk for bags. You know, there's no privacy. You're on top of each other. And if there's one person who's a jerk, they're just not going to last very long on that situation, you know? So, but yeah, man, you know, and like the Bush brothers, man, those guys are they're a perfect example of that, man. They treat people with respect. They treat people with kindness. I've never heard a negative thing come out of their mouth. I mean, even like Kristian, like I still remember one time we had a guitar tech that was he just was causing issues.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a jerk. He was just didn't have it together. And we were playing the CMA festival in Nashville, and I still remember this. And I was like, man, I'm going to take something from that. That was amazing. And Kristian sat him down and said, okay, listen, I'm yelling at you right now. And that's exactly how he said it. This is me yelling. I need you to perform today. I need you to do what you need to do, or we're going to have another discussion after the show. I need you to have your stuff together. I need you to be prepared. Remember, I'm yelling at you right now. And I was just like, wow.
Oh, that's good.
You know what I mean? And it had more impact.
I'd almost rather you yell at me. Like, really yell at me.
Yeah. If you yell at me, I can go, oh, man, that guy's a jerk. He's a jerk. He screamed at me. But it's like, oh, no, dude, he's just being sincere with you. And it truly was like, I was like, wow, I am going to steal that. The next time I have a situation where it's like, I need to really talk to somebody about something, I'm going to steal that from them.
I can see 3 weeks from now, me sitting down with Sommer and her looking at me going, Dad, I'm yelling at you right now.
Dad, this is me yelling at you.
This is me yelling
at you right now.
I'm going to need you to get your act together. I sees it. I'll tell you something else I've learned too in hiring people to play with me. I can't pay someone enough to not be an asshole.
Right.
You know, I can't give them the perks and give them the attention and do anything to make them act any better.
Right.
And I've had some folks, good friends of mine, One, I paid, it was an enormous amount of money because he needed the money and wouldn't bring his gear to the show. He wanted the gear provided. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
And it was the day of the show I was getting this. I'm like, there's no gear for you. Like,
Yeah.
you have to bring your gear to the show. Like, it was a big, and I haven't played with him since, you know? So, yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes you just gotta.
It's simple, man. Life is really simple. It's really simple. If you want to be successful, the more people who speak well of you you don't get success. Sometimes you can get success from doing things that you do well. You know, you can be a great something and you can be so good that you'll be successful at it. But I'm telling you, if you get 1,000 people to say that you're really good at something and you're a great guy,
Yeah, you're in.
you're in.
Yep.
You will be successful, you know? And it's just, to me, that's just the secret to everything.
Yeah. You have to, your character matters. And there's 1,000 great guitar players in Atlanta,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and next man up, because there's someone that can play as good as you.
Yep.
Can you gel with that scene?
Yep.
Yeah, and over time, you can't fake it. Over time, people are going to say he's a great guy, or people are going to say,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So, or if it's bad enough, they'll tell you. But this town, you know, a lot of people. I look at the rap community and how they take care of each other, and the rock community is taking care of each other better now. If we could get bands to quit playing for free, it would be better.
I think bands have always had to play for free, though.
You know, that's a tough thing.
You know, it's kind of one of those things, man. It's like, you know, bands, it's like you gotta kind of play for free to get going. But at the same time, you know, it's what's frustrating about being a musician and doing it as a living is I was working at Atlanta Pro Percussion back in the day, and I would always see guys coming in and out and talking and having conversations with people. And this guy came in and he goes, man, and he was like a banker or some, you know, he didn't really play. His son was a drummer, so he was buying some stuff for his son, and he was just bitching about the economy this, the economy that, the economy this. And I said, man, you know what my economy is? And he said, what's that? I said, when I was 19 years old, I made $100 to $150 to play a 4-hour gig. I said, it's now 2008.
Yep.
And I make $100 to $150 to play a 4-hour gig. It's, you know, but at the same time, the beauty of being a musician is once you can establish your value, that once you establish yourself and say, hey man, you know, it's like I still play for free, but the shows I play for free are going to be really fun.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going for it for a different reason, you know, because you can definitely, like, you know, and I've done this, you know, you can get to where it's like you're focusing so much on making money with your gigs that you never can make enough money. You're hustling for every dollar, and it ends up your art kind of suffers sometimes. So it's that balance between playing something using something to make money, and then using something for your creative outlet that pays you in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's always been a struggle. And, you know, with hip hop, you know, the thing is, there's dudes that are making killer money. There's dudes that are making nothing.
Yep.
It's the same with every style of music. You know, there's rock bands in this town that do great. And then there's bands that just don't make any money, but they don't even care.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a tough one. Original music, I mean, you gotta work your rear end off to make it, to make any money. You know, you have to get to a certain point. Then you have yacht rock.
Yeah.
And those cats are doing fantastic.
They're doing great, man. Right place, right time, right guys.
Yep.
Everything. I mean, and the thing is, they work their butts off. Like I was playing Meddlesome at the 10 High.
Yeah. When
Yacht Rock started. And so I was like, I saw the first few Yacht Rock nights, and I was like, these guys got something happening here.
Yeah, I was with Greg and Mark Mancuya and Monkey Boy last night at Vinkman's in Donnell's, and we were talking about the first show because I mean, let's just be real. The reason they made it as fast as they did is they had one hell of a poster hanger for their first 2 shows.
Dude, you talking about the one with all their shirts off and all that stuff?
Yeah. Well, they made that. That was great. But I hung all the posters. I hung them at the right spots.
Oh, okay.
I hustled those posters,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
I hustled
Street team. You were the street team.
I was a one-man wrecking crew.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's my peak claim to fame is that I hung them first posters and I got to sing Pina Colada with them.
Nice.
On the first 2 shows. So
Nice
for
work.
me, I don't think they'd be where they were today if it wasn't for those poster hanging skills. I remember getting thrown out. They had what was that? The burlesque show. Remember that?
Yep.
I accidentally went in there and threw some posters down on the tables. Oh man, she came off stage throwing that stuff at me. I was hiking out of there. I was like, it's gonna be a great show. But yeah, that the electricity on those first few shows was like, okay, there's something here.
Yeah, there's something there, and they were always good at that. I mean, I remember when they were still YOU, and they would do like YOU is going to play Thriller.
Yeah.
Or YOU.
The rock fights?
Yeah, the rock fights back at the 10 High, And yeah, man, those were wild times.
Yep. Gotta be
wild times.
So if we talk about yacht rock, I think about Mark Cobb. So when I think about Mark Cobb and I think about Kent Aberle and I think about John Chaldon and some of the other folks, incredible drummers, I want your take. What is a good drummer? What makes a good drummer?
I think as far as like what I focus on when I'm playing drums, the drummers. Let me change that. The drummers that inspire me are players, and Mark is definitely one of these players. John's definitely one of these players. It's kind of like, it's almost like rhythm just kind of flows through them so effortlessly that the pulse of whatever they want it to be, however they want you as the audience member to dance, they're gonna basically dictate that.
Right.
And you have no option but to follow them. Guys like that can just they can hit a groove so hard that you cannot ignore it, and then they've got you, and then they can move you, and make you dance. And even if you're not a dancer, it's like you can't help but move. Those are the guys I love. One of my favorite guys when it comes to drummers here, especially here in Atlanta, I got to hang out with him for about an hour and a half yesterday, man. It's Little John Roberts, who started in Philly. And it's like, we were hanging out at my studio and we were both on a kit and we were jamming and stuff. And man, his pocket it was like he just started playing on my kit and I was like, I got to play. It was so just inspiring to make me move. And I think that's what makes a great drummer. It's a drummer is a person, a great drummer is a person who plays for the song, doesn't overplay, really plays with dynamics, can play quiet but make it feel heavy, and play loud but make it feel light. It's just they have this innate ability to just make people move. That's, to me, is a great drummer. So
I got this song my dad wrote. It's a 2-chord kind of burner called "Can't Take It," right? And it's got this groove, and drummers do one or two things with it. They put me to sleep, and the crowd to sleep, or it pops and everybody's up and everybody's paying attention to it. And it's all drummer. It's all drummer and bass player. So usually Shapiro is with me for the last few years. And you either get something out of it or you don't. And for me, it's that it's someone that for guitar players, play in the mode. Like, don't leave the mode of the song. Don't leave the melody of the song. Stay within that. Stay within the mode of it. Shannon Pingelli's the best at it. And you know Shannon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's high school.
Yeah.
I went to high school with some really awesome players. Shannon's one of them. He's the best that I've heard at it, that stays in that mode and just gets in there and can do all kinds of cool stuff but never leave the mode of the song. And that for a drummer, same thing. And when it's time, when all of a sudden you got the crowd going, it's late in the song, and the crowd's going, and all of a sudden you're improv in the rest,
right?
And take it somewhere. A drummer that can not rush, But stay there, keep the crowd going, keep the feeling of the song going, keep the energy up. Dynamics, good dynamics. They can understand, where we are musically, not just bang, 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 bang. They can get in there. Chaldon is fantastic at it. Mark Cobb, incredible. You're another one that does that. That to me is a good drummer. First, let's do the basics. Let's keep time. Can we keep time?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, though, man. Here's the thing about time, and this is what I argue about. This is one argument I have, being as a drummer to other musicians. The drummer's job is not to keep time. The band's job is to keep time. Because believe me, man, I feel like I have really good time. I feel like I can find a pulse and I can lock into a pulse.
Yeah.
I have played with guitar players that literally, it doesn't matter what I do. They're going to push on me all night long.
Yeah.
Or they're going to play so much. They're going to constantly be pulling on me to the point where I'm just like, dude, are you awake right now? So to me, it's like, great bands are bands that the drummer the band has great time. The drummer is basically the foundation of that time. And then everybody else can work over top of that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's, you can have a great foundation in a building, and do the rest of it not as strong.
Right.
And your building's going to topple.
Yep.
So I'm a firm believer. Yeah, I think it is important for drummers to develop great time, but I think it's more than time. I think feel is more important, because the thing is, it's like, man, when you go back and listen to those James Brown's albums, and then you listen to James Brown tunes live, those dudes are playing some of those tunes are like twice as fast live.
Yeah.
But the feel is the same. And so you don't even notice it, man. It's just basically your adrenaline's connecting to their adrenaline that's connecting to the song. But you're hearing the song exactly the way you heard it 100 beats slower.
Right.
But it's just the feel is so good and the feel is so right, and the band is on that feel so well. But you don't even notice the speed
and the personality of the gig may even dictate how the show's going and where the crowd's taking you to, right?
Absolutely.
I've never played with a click. I practice with a click. Got to practice with a click. Live, I've never had any tracks, so never had a huge reason to lock into a click. So I got in this click kick, and Steve Cunningham had pulled me off of it almost immediately. He's like, dude, no.
Yeah.
No click. No click. The feel of the song may change, and we may want to change with it, and the click's going to kill it. I think there's a lot of merit to that. I think when I cut my teeth on drums, and that's what I played. My dad was a drummer.
Yeah.
We talked earlier, Junior Walker and the All-Stars, Randall Bramlett. Do you know Randall?
Oh, yeah.
All those cats.
Man.
So for me, it was timing, play with the click, get on the click. I was never the greatest at it. I was cutting some tracks. Eric Frampton, you know Eric? Mm-hmm. Eric Frampton, Reese Harris is a drummer. John Hancock on bass. We were doing a record with Greg Hester and doing a Fleetwood Mac cover. And it was so nuanced as to what makes Mick Fleetwood sound like he does.
Yeah.
And the band's on the click, and Mick Fleetwood's just behind it. Just behind the click, and it gives it that Fleetwood Mac sound. And having a drummer good enough, as Reese is, to pick that up and be able to pull off the click but stay in time, man, it was so crazy.
Yeah.
But it gives you that, you're getting to the next level now of I've always liked eat the click. If you're playing drums right, I can't hear the click. I can't hear it. If I hear the click, that means you're searching. But on this one, it was like just behind the click. It was a whole different lesson to learn.
I've had to play with a click a lot live, and it's just a security blanket type of thing,
Right.
because it's like if you're exhausted and you get on stage, like if we're playing a festival, and we've been out for freaking 2 weeks, and we've been on the bus for 2 weeks, and you get to a festival, it's like, okay, yeah, I want the tunes to be right.
Yeah.
So if I'm really tired, a lot of times when I'm really tired, I actually overcompensate and I'll find myself playing too fast, and what we do is like, we'll rehearse with the click. Like when we go to the studio and we rehearse the tunes, we'll find like a bass like this is where I want it at. This, take it back 1 beat per minute, 2 beat. It gets kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But then once we have the basic idea of like where we want each song to be, I'm the only one that hears the click. So the reason is it's like I can click it off, and then all I do is look at Kristian, and he'll turn around and say, "Oh my God, it's too slow." And I'm like, "Well, no, it's actually right." But if you're playing in front of 60,000 people,
Yeah.
with an ocean beachfront on the right side of the crowd, it's like, turn that thing off, man. Let's just dance. Let's dance. And it's a tool. Click track is a tool. It's not something that you want to. Now, it also depends on the gig, though, man. If you're doing a gig like 9 Inch Nails, you're going to need to be able to play with a click.
Well, you got tracks left and right with them, right?
Yeah. If you like when I played with the Meddlesome gig, the karaoke gig, we had so many tracks.
Yeah.
There was click on almost every song. So it got to where it allowed me to get really comfortable with a click to where it's like I didn't even notice it after a while.
Yeah.
It was just kind of there. But, where I use a click a lot now is when I warm up. So if I'm warming up on my practice pad, I'll start a click at like 60 beats per minute, like really slow. And I'll just focus on playing really loose and really relaxed at that speed. And then I'll do some rudiments and stuff, and I'll speed it up a little bit. But other than that, man, it's like being able to play to a click and then not be able to play to a click, but keep that same feel. It takes a lot of work, but I like playing without a click live.
Yeah.
I really do. And even like James Hall, I don't know how familiar you are with James.
Oh yeah. Very familiar.
James is like, man, those shows are literally like, it's like, take your seatbelt off on the freaking roller coaster and put your hands up, and hope that you stay in the cart, because you never know where it's going to go. It's very loose.
Yeah.
He wants that. He wants kind of the craziness. But when we go into the studio, we've been doing something for the last few albums that's been really, really cool to do. It's like we'll take a day and play the tunes to a click. So that way we're all kind of getting comfortable with the feel and where it's at. But then when we actually track the tunes, no click.
Really? Well, that's an interesting approach.
Yeah.
How does your approach different in the studio than live? Do you have a different approach?
I think it's just a different connection. When I play live, I want the music. I want to be rehearsed enough on the music and comfortable enough on the music to where I'm not like worrying about gear or worrying about anything physical going on with me.
Right.
But when I play live, it's more about me connecting with the audience. So like one thing I like to do is when I'm playing, I like to scan the crowd and like make eye contact with people. In the studio, I think it's just more under a microscope. So I really kind of focus more on the actual tones that I'm getting than I do live. So like I might use lighter sticks in the studio, or, I might use a different tuning in the studio, but I don't know, man. For me, it's just, I want to provide the same energy, whether it's on tape or on tape.
I think that's the key.
Or
that's
live.
the key to me. Yeah. I've heard, I won't mention any names because it's not a compliment. Where their shows knock me out and the records have none of that energy. And consistently record after record, it doesn't have that same energy as live.
Yeah. Well, the difference is there's no crowd.
Yeah. So the energy of the crowd is so huge.
Right.
But then you have the bands that can go in the studio and then keep that energy and then keep that pop.
Yeah. I mean, Kiss is a perfect example. The best Kiss album still to this day is Kiss Alive.
Yep.
Because it gives you the energy of being at the live concert. I mean, Eric, Peter Frampton, dude.
Oh, yeah. Frampton Comes Alive.
Frampton Comes Alive.
Getting any better.
It's like, does anybody know the name of a Frampton studio album that was really good? Probably not. But they know Frampton Comes Alive. It's an interesting thing, man. It's just, that's why there's a lot of artists like, man, I'm a huge 9 Inch Nails fan. Like, I think Trent Reznor is like on another level of just genius.
Right.
I think he's going to go down from our generation as like somebody he's just a genius, man. And like when I listen to those records, I'm like, God, this stuff is so intense and it's so great. But then when I see them live, I'm like, holy cow, they just took it to another level.
Yeah, they're nuts. You know who I was not a huge fan of Nine Inch Nails. Not a fan, but just didn't buy the records or anything until Johnny Cash came out.
Oh yeah,
with that
Hurt.
song, with Hurt, and that song completely floored me, and I had to get all of his records.
You know, a great record to get by them, if you want something to jam along to, is they have this album called Ghosts, and it's like, I want to say there's Ghosts 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I think there's like 36 tracks, and it's all instrumental, and it's literally like almost like diving. There's like there's tracks that are just him on piano, and it's like diving into his brain for 36 tracks. And I use it a lot for clinics and stuff, but I find, finding music like that you can play along to, and you don't have to play a part. It's not about playing a part right. It's not about playing a pattern right. It's not about playing a fill right. It's about being creative and capturing the feeling of that song, and expressing what that music is telling you to say on your instrument. Fela Kuti is the same way. Fela Kuti is an amazing African musician who's passed away years ago, but his music, like he'll start a pulse, like a lot of his songs have like this shaker pulse. And the song's like 30 minutes long, and it's live, and it's just this huge band, and they just keep that pulse going for 30 minutes, and it's like playing along to that, man. It takes you to a different place that allows you to truly express without any regard to, like, I don't have to play a part. I got to be part of this, Yeah. So I think Nine Inch Nails is they're brilliant, but yeah, it's, the studio thing. I mean, I think that's always going to be the case, And man, if you talk about hip hop, it's like there are hip hop albums that I absolutely love. I've rarely ever seen a hip hop show where I was like, that blew my mind.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Because there's just not enough action on stage.
Right.
The crowd's into it and stuff, but it's like, man, it's like if there's just one guy and somebody rapping, it's kind of, or somebody, it's just, I don't know, man. It just doesn't come off. It doesn't give me the same vibe. But then you get guys like, people like Beyonce and people like, Dre and people like that who are like, now they're bringing out these massive bands with them, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, now that's a whole nother game,
So who's the first to do that? When LL Cool J, was he the first? Was it LL Cool J that toured with the band?
Well, he was the first one. He did. I think he did. Didn't he do he did Mama Gonna Knock You Out?
Yeah, that was a band.
He did the MTV acoustic show.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Incredible.
It was so awesome.
So I'll tell you my live experience with Ludacris is I got to run sound for Usher. Usher does a yearly show, and he has this mentoring program, and I got to go drive his bus and pick all the people up and bring them back and forth, and I got to help run sound. And Ludacris came out, and I threw up. The bass was so heavy and so rattly. I think I might die. Like I might actually be dying. And we were at the Roxy. What was it now? It's not the Roxy anymore.
It's Buckhead Theater.
Buckhead Theater. So
don't go to an EDM show then, dude.
No. Well, you look up and the whole ceiling was shaking and all the things were coming around. I did. I like later in the night I went and threw up. I was like, God. Like it upset me.
Sound pressure level, man. It's a real thing, dude.
It was so big. Good God. But he put on a great show.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to stay alive, so maybe it wasn't all that great after that. Yeah, it's real interesting. Who are your major influences?
Oh man. It changes a lot. I would say drumming wise, growing up, watching guys like Buddy Rich played at my high school when I was in 8th grade, and I grew up in a town of like 4,000 people. So like that happening was like, what? So that night was a huge influence on me.
I got a great Buddy Rich joke.
Oh, dude, there's millions of them.
He was a notorious asshole.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Notorious.
Believe me, every drummer in the world has a copy of the bus recordings.
That's it. So did you hear the guy? So the guy calls the wife and says, "Hey, is Buddy Rich in?"
Yeah.
And she says, "God, no, I'm surprised you haven't heard. He died last week." And he goes, "Oh God, that's terrible." The next day, the phone rings. The wife answers. He goes, "Hey, is Buddy Rich in?" And she goes, "No, he died last week." Third day, he calls. She answers the phone. He says, "Is Buddy Rich in?" And she goes, "No, he died last week, but this is the third day in a row you've called." And he goes, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I just like hearing you say it."
Yeah.
Yeah, the bus tape is like...
Bus tapes are legend.
So I got a Buddy Rich t-shirt that he had given my dad. And I don't know where it is now. I wore it until there was nothing left, but I think the neckband and maybe a little bit of the logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was powerful, man. He was a force, dude. And it's but yeah, he was, guys like that, but I mean I always drummers, I wouldn't say there's like certain drummers. Like obviously, I'm going to say Bonham and people like that, but I would have to say like as far as an era of drumming, it was the guys who first hit me was like the late 60s, early 70s rock guys. The Bill Ward's. Like, man, people put Black Sabbath when they hear like heavy metal and they put like the drumming of Black Sabbath and with like, like really this heavy drumming. That record, if you go back and listen to the first Black Sabbath record, it's a blues record.
Really?
He's playing like blues and jazz grooves, and he's not hitting the crap out of the drums. It's very tasteful. It's just unreal. But those guys grew up playing jazz and blues, but then they had, as technology and the music changed, they ended up having to do it playing really loud. So they became powerful jazz and blues guys. The Carmine Appice, and Vinny Appice, which unless you meet them, Carmine will say he's Appice and Vinny will say he's Appice, and then 5 minutes later they'll switch it. Those two are hilarious.
Oh, really?
If you ever hang out with those two together, they're a riot. Those two are a riot together. But yeah, man, all those guys, man. There's so many guys that from that era that I just that era of that heavy jazz blues stuff. That's what I always end up going back and listening to. And then, later on, once I got older and like later on in high school, in early college, then it was like the early 90s music. But it wasn't really the grunge era. Although I will say one of the most underrated rock drummers of our time is Sean Kinney from Alice in Chains. I'm just going to say
really?
He's fantastic,
I think he's good too.
He's very, very creative with his music. But the guy where I was like, I put on the record and I was just like, holy crap, this dude is a beast, was Jimmy Chamberlain. When the first time I heard the Smashing Pumpkins, which was like in I think I first heard Gish in 89 or 90. And I was literally just like, what is this? I mean, it was like he played so quiet at times and so powerful, and the chops were just like, it just sounded like he was lighting the snare drum on fire. And from him, I was like, wow. And so I started studying him, and I was like, wow, he's really into fusion stuff. And then I started like at that point in time in my early college years, because growing up in a small town, you're just kind of isolated.
Yeah.
You got your pop country and you got your rock radio. And every once in a while, you could get the metal show from Chicago or something on the late night airwaves. But there wasn't really any jazz education. So I didn't really learn any of that stuff till college. But when I heard Jimmy Chamberlain play, that led me to listening to Billy Cobham. And then that led me to listening to this guy and this guy and this guy. And it just, but yeah, I would say like the late 60s, early 70s guys and the 90s drummers are the ones where I'm just like, man, that's kind of what built me, I guess.
Yeah. Of course, you got the Keith Moons, you got the John Bonhams.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah. Which are in that late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, late 60s. Stuff. Ginger Baker for me.
Oh, yeah, man. Ginger's great. Madman.
Yeah. Madman.
Crazy dude.
I got into his African beat stage. That's when
Well, see, he introduced me with like his early stuff when I was in college. That's who introduced me to Fela Kuti.
Okay.
Because he played with Fela. There's a great album with Fela Rankin Kuti, excuse me, and Ginger Baker. If you can find it, it's
I'll look for it.
Hot. I mean, it is a hot record. You know, all that solo stuff that he did, man.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And like, you know, but yeah, all those eras, man. It's like the new modern drummers I love too, man. There's so many guys out there right now, man, that are changing the game again. You know, it's always changing.
Yeah.
So it's like you know, as far as like guys who inspire me, it's like, man, what day is it? You know, it's like, you know, for me to say Josh Freese doesn't inspire me would be a lie. I mean, Josh Freese is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't play on that many records and not be amazing.
When I was
Kenny Arnoff.
Yeah, in town, hanging out with Barry Richman, years when I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
This was probably 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. What am I, almost 50? Yeah, about 30 years ago. And Richman, just a monster guitar player, and him studying another guy, not Barry Richman, good. I don't know who it was. And I'm talking to him, like he's like, man, hold on. And he's just watching him play, and he goes, I can learn something from anyone.
Yeah,
with a guitar in his hand. And I always thought, dude, that's Barry Richman saying, I can learn something from anyone. Yeah. And I've always kept that open and been, you know, you find some real gems out there.
Oh yeah, man. Because it's all about it's communication, man. Music is just a form of communication. So if you look at it and you judge it as saying, okay, well, I'm not really into that type of music, man, you're losing the battle. You are not allowing yourself some amazing emotional places that you can go. You know, I try to look at it like, wow, you know, these guys, I want to know what these guys think. You know, for years I was like, man, I don't like rap. I don't like hip hop. But then, you know, it was like all of a sudden I started getting into it. I'm like, dude, I really dig hip hop and rap now. I listen to it a lot, you know. Yeah. Electronic music, man. I listen to a lot of electronic music. You know, I try to look at it like having a conversation. It's like, you know, it's like if you get everybody sitting at a table and everybody has the same ideas and everybody thinks the exact same thing and everybody wants to, you know, likes the exact same stuff, nothing comes out of it.
Yep.
Nothing new happens. But when you experiment and you allow yourself to listen to country music, hip hop, jazz, fusion, acid jazz, metal, death metal, you know, doom metal, you know, all that stuff. When you start bringing everybody to your table, you start to it allows you to progress as a musician, you know, because I think the part of communication that we as musicians that causes ruts is a lot of us find ourselves listening, not only just playing the same stuff. Like it's an easy thing to go into your studio and play the same thing that you played the day before because you're comfortable. But challenge yourself to listen to something new. Like really listen to it. Like take a week and say, I'm going to listen to nothing but jazz for this week. I'm not going to listen to that one record that I always listen to. I'm not going to listen to, you know, the sports radio show that I always listen to. I'm going to take this week and I'm going to listen to a whole new style of music. Yeah. You know, I just recently read a book by Barrett Martin, who's the drummer for Screaming Trees and Mad Season, which is, to me, one of the greatest. That's one of my favorite records I've ever owned in my life is Mad Season's record. You familiar with Mad Season?
No.
Mad Season was a band that came out, is one of the last bands that really came out from the Seattle scene. It was Mike McCready on guitar, Lane Staley, the singer from Alice in Chains, on vocals, Barrett Martin on drums. I can't remember the bass player's name. He was like a blues guy on bass, and him and Mike met each other. The bass player and Mike met each other in rehab, and they wrote a bunch of tunes, and they came out, and it's just a freaking amazing, beautiful record. But Barrett Martin wrote this book called The Singing Earth, and it talks about how he got kind of burned out about the Seattle scene. He was just kind of over it after Screaming Trees was done. And he started traveling the world, and he started learning all these new styles of rhythm and music, like from the Aborigine cultures all around the world. So as I'm reading this book, I told myself, I said, this is a perfect opportunity to learn more music. So as I'm reading the book and he's talking about like him visiting Cuba, you know, and all the different orishas and all this different stuff that he learned about Cuban culture. and then talking about the music and all the different styles of music that comes from every culture. I literally sat there and just sat on Spotify and would like
start pulling it up.
And as I'm reading that chapter, I would listen to it, that music. And it was so eye-opening and so inspiring that I feel like I became a better drummer and a better musician just because I opened my mind and listened to something that I wasn't familiar with or not technically comfortable with.
Right.
You know, because I think a lot of things that happens to us as humans, you know, and I'm getting way deep and I'm sorry.
No, this is good. This is exactly what it is. This is a release room. You get it out here. This is where we get it out.
I think the thing that holds all of us back, I think the one thing that holds all of us back, and I've been through it, man. I've been through relationship breakup, you know, I've been through band breakups like crazy. I've been broke. I've had money. I've been broke. I've done this. I've done all of it, you know. But my favorite word of advice I read somewhere. I'm trying to remember who originally stated it, but it's comfort is the enemy to progress. So it doesn't matter. Say, for example, if you're overweight, you're like, man, I got to lose 30 pounds, dude. I've got to lose 30 pounds. There's going to come a time during that decision to lose 30 pounds where you're going to hate it. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be like, oh my God, dude, I can't do it.
Yep.
And you can either stop and quit and not progress, or you can embrace that discomfort, embrace what you don't know, embrace what you don't understand, and learn from it. And then the next thing you know, that is no longer makes you uncomfortable. You know, I mean, like I started running a couple of years ago, and it got to where it was like, man, I could take off and run, and like within like 3 blocks, man, my knees and my back and everything is going, hell no, dude.
Yep.
What the hell are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Now it's like I can go out and I'll run all the way around Grant Park, and I'll run about 3 or 4 miles, and I feel great. It's like now it's a release for me because I allowed myself to get to that discomfort level. And music is the same way. It's like if we allow ourselves to just stick with things that we're comfortable with, listen to music that we're comfortable with, listen to music that we understand, listen to music that we are told is cool.
Yeah.
Listen to music that we're, you know, if we allow ourselves to do that only, we don't progress as musicians. We don't learn anything. But the more you allow yourselves to, we allow ourselves to really actually like make ourselves uncomfortable, like physically make ourselves uncomfortable, spiritually make ourselves uncomfortable, do something that's totally new that you're not familiar with, you progress as a human being.
I had a rookie moment. I got my first sales job in early 20s. It was 23. And they asked, what's the best place to be, in your comfort zone or out of it? And I kicked my hand up. I'm like, dude, in it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's just out of it. Not so far out that you're ineffective. It's just out of it, so you're expanding your comfort zone and expanding it here. I think some of that, like you talked about earlier, some of the best drummers come from another genre altogether. Jazz, one of the best heavy metal drummers came from jazz. Some of the best indie drummers really came from jazz. But you take an African beat drummer and put him in a pop band, and you're going to have a different sounding pop band. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have more tools to pull from.
Yeah.
Do you find that when you're expanding your sort of sphere of reference, that it incorporates itself into the current work?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It absolutely does. I mean, it's, you know, I still remember when I first started playing double kick pedal, you know, because for years I was told, like, man, double kick pedal, that's cheating. Well, then like early 90s, I went to a Dennis Chambers clinic and he was playing double kick. And I'm like, dude,
he's not cheating.
That's really cool what he's doing with that. It's different. And then I started studying it and started studying like the fact that, you know, Louis Bellson and all those dudes played double kick because it was like, it was tap dancing. And then I heard Tool,
interesting.
you know,
like
then
that
like
reference.
Danny Carey, the way he used it, it wasn't as heavy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it had a different feel to it. So I started working on double kick. And dude, there were days when I really started digging in on it and learning new techniques and learning how to like do drum rolls with my feet and stuff that were literally like physically like so hard. You know, it was like I still remember like I call it the snake bite, but I used like my first pedal I got, I like instantly when I figured out kind of I'd sit underneath my desk and I would tap my feet around my desk trying to learn like different patterns with my feet. And I said, okay, I got to go get a double pedal. So I found this used pedal, and it was like this really old Tama Iron Cobra. And it was like huge and metal, and the beater on the top of it was like felt on one side, metal on the back side. It was just, it looked like a tank.
Yeah.
And I hooked this thing up to my drum set, and I'm just flailing my feet, trying to get my feet to like talk. And the whole time, man, the metal of that beater is just coming back, going smack, 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 smack in the back of my foot. And at one point in time, I literally had a knot on the top of my foot that was probably about an inch off my foot and was like perma black because it had been bruised so much. But I was like, okay. But now it's like when I do it, it's effortless for me to do it. And I think everything that I've done, you know, everything that I grasp, I try to go, okay, this is something that can help me, you know. But if it's something that I'm familiar with, again, I already know it.
Yeah. So I think with the relationships, with skills, with interest, the second you're satisfied, your growth stops.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it can still work for you, but it's not, you know, the world around you is progressing. Everybody's progressing.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I always find anything I learn new, even if it's not even related to something else, it gets somehow incorporated into the different things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's not drumming and the people you know, the people you can talk about, all the different things, places you can go with that information.
Yeah.
So I think it's important. It's easy to get complacent with Netflix.
Oh, my God.
And YouTube and all that. It's so easy to get complacent, but I get lit up, especially, you know, going to music. Even going and seeing Greg and the two Marks last night at Vinkman's, just their harmonies, and they were playing some songs. I'm like, man, I would have never thought of that as acoustic.
Yeah.
You know, and then Cersei gets up with the cello, and they're playing songs that I would never hear with the cello, and it's just like, I come back and start thinking, I'm writing right now. Greg and Lee and I are doing a record. And now I'm back. I'm trying to incorporate some of that. Like, well, maybe that door's open or this door's open. So, yeah, man, keep that mind open.
Yeah.
Keep it open.
Challenge yourself every day. Do something to challenge yourself.
Who are you playing with right now? What are your current projects?
I've been cutting some new tunes right now with James Hall and the Steady Wicked, which has been going great. We're doing a show actually at the Earl on December 20th. We're celebrating James's. It's crazy to say this, but we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of My Sex, Love, and Spirit. I Love, Sex, and Spirit.
Was that really? That's
25 years ago. Dang. Came out the same year as Gish.
Wow.
So we're playing that record front to end at the Earl. That's gonna be a great night. And then
his show at Smithsville Bard.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, I mean any James Hall show. It's just like freaking.
So it was so good to see him. I was
like,
like,
what?
Man, he's still freaking James
he's
Hall
still
and more.
James Hall.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing some demo stuff with Kristian right now, working on stuff with him. I mean, that's kind of an ongoing thing. I just started a new project that I'm really having fun with called RAH, R-A-H. It stands for Ross, Aberle, and Holyfield. And it's a improv jazz funk trio. Nice. And it has been really fun to do. And it's you know, people are taking notice, so that's cool. We just get together and record everything we do, man.
Yeah.
And it's you know, like where's the Cosmos going to take this song, you know, and it's a blast. And then I guess the other thing I'm doing right now, which has been fun, it's kind of, you know, it's not a full-time gig of any kind, but I've been playing a little bit with back to Jimmy Chamberlain. I've been playing a Smashing Pumpkins tribute band.
Yeah, that's right. You had a big show at
Yeah, we had a show at the Vista Room. We're playing October 20th at Vinyl. Saturday, October 20th at Vinyl.
So I actually had to run out of town that weekend, so I missed that show.
It was fun.
But I will not miss the Vinyl
It's a
show.
blast, man. I tell you, man, like me, that was another thing. It was like, oh my God, it's like I know these songs, but like I got to perform these songs now. So like literally like sitting down and playing learning the Pumpkin stuff, man,
Yeah.
learning the Jimmy Chamberlain stuff. It's like, wow, it's a blast, man. It's a blast to play. But I'm still doing a lot of freelance work and just playing with different people and always looking to record new stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Cool.
always down for everything.
Down for what? Bring it on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. So anything else on the drum front you want to cover? Because man, we got a big one. We got to cover. We got a big one.
Well, I've been, the one thing I haven't been excited about, is as I've gotten older, I've tried to bring in more plates into my life. So right now I've been working with Dream Cymbals full time.
That's right. Yeah. Tell me about
for a while. That's been very exciting.
And what's that look like for you?
So I do product specialist work for them. So I get to go around the country and talk about the cymbals and meet people. And, I'm playing a golf outing on Monday in Connecticut. It's an awesome, it's such a blessing to work with these guys, man. And the cymbals are just, they're fantastic instruments. And it's just awesome to play a cymbal that doesn't cost you a freaking month's rent.
Yeah.
To buy,
And the last?
What's
durable?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Durable as any other cymbal I've ever played.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's, they got 2-year warranty and stuff. So, I'm doing my sales pitch.
No, do the sales pitch. I mean, that's part of the deal. So Dream Cymbal, and then so you go into Connecticut.
Yeah.
And what's their specialty? What's their sweet spot for cymbals?
Dream?
Yeah.
Dream. I mean, they have figured out how to make a cymbal that sounds amazing, like a vintage cymbal, like a cymbal sounds that people like literally, like every studio I take them in ends up ordering cymbals. Like we're officially we are the official cymbal of Fame Studios in Muscle Shoals.
Nice.
Because I did a session there, and John, the engineer, was like, dude, what are these cymbals? And I'm like, you want some? And he goes, yeah, I want some. And they ordered some from us.
Cool.
So now
no better endorsement than that,
Fame,
right?
Dude. It's like, okay, yeah. So yeah, it's, they record great. They sound great. They're not expensive. The company's great. But that company's been growing like crazy, and it's been a great thing to be part of. And just recently, the newest thing I've got going on is I've got a little story. I still write for Drumhead magazine, and I just wrote a column about it. But I've just noticed, like, especially over the last few years, there's been just a rash of music equipment being stolen.
Oh man, I know.
And if there's any musician who's listening to this, I'm just going to do a shameless plug.
Do it.
I'm doing it.
Do it. Plug it up right there.
Go to musicproinsurance.com. Sign up for Music Pro Insurance for all your gear. I literally have, and because the thing is, it's like I think it was 97. I was playing a gig in Paris, Illinois, and it was freezing out. It was December. And just got done playing, loaded up my truck, started my truck up to let it warm up because, man, everybody around us was jumping batteries. I mean, it was that cold. And so I start my truck up, let it warm up a little bit. I literally walk 20 feet around the other side of the building, get cash from everybody in the band, say goodbye to everybody because I'm going the opposite direction from the rest of the band. I come back around the side of the building, and my truck is gone.
Oh.
Some dude watched me the whole time and stole my truck with all my drums in it, everything. And that went on. It was gone for 3 days. And the whole time I'm calling my insurance company, and I did not realize it, that my car insurance or my home insurance didn't cover my music equipment.
Because that's a business.
They just don't do it.
Yeah.
They don't do it. Like a lot of major companies won't even like cover a guitar because they consider it high risk.
Yeah.
It's too easy to steal. So anyway, I found this company, Music Pro Insurance, and now I'm working with them as a educator to help people see how important it is to insure your gear. But I mean, I pay like, I want to say I pay like $160 a year for everything.
Wow.
Laptop, in-ears, sticks, heads, everything that I could possibly.
I'll put a link to it.
Yeah, man. Musicproinsurance.com.
Yeah,
Do
sure.
it. Go there today. If you don't have your gear insured, go there today. They got like $100 deductible.
That's awesome.
It's the most inexpensive insurance I've ever seen, and the service they have is fantastic. Like I was flying to Taiwan with the On Fires, the Australian band I toured with. I toured China with them a few times and Taiwan, and I was flying to Taiwan, and I forgot my good headphones, like my over-the-ear headphones. So I had my in-ears, had my like Shure E5 in-ears.
Yeah.
Plug them into the plane thing, listening to a movie, all of a sudden I hear and my right ear goes out. And I'm like, oh, crap. Oh, my God. And I'm getting ready to do like a month-long tour.
Yeah.
With
one ear.
And so I'm taking them out and I'm like messing with them. I'm taking the foams off and I'm like tapping it out and like, taking the thing and making sure it's cleaned out and nothing. So then I grab a pair of airplane headphones, plug them in. Same thing happened. They had a power surge going on through my seat. God. And man, Music Pro Insurance paid for me to get new in-ears. I couldn't believe it.
That's awesome.
So they're an awesome company. So I'm working with them now. It's a part-time thing, but it's just exciting for me. I'm a firm believer in have as many plates spinning as you can handle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You can't focus on one thing. Gigging's not going to do it.
Nope.
Very rarely does gigging by itself do it. You got to have a lot of plate spins. Like, you were talking about the Yacht Rock guys, dude. I mean, they got the Yacht Rock thing, but then, they also have Please Rock Me, which has numerous bands that they manage and book. And now you got Venkman's. It's the secret to it, man, is I forget, diversify.
Yeah, diversify in everything you do. Yeah.
Diversify.
So I did a 500 song for a kid's gig, and I didn't even take my guitar. The stupid thing, I had my guitar in my trunk. I didn't take it out. I didn't need it. I had just bought a BlackBerry phone, and I had the new phone in my pocket and the box in the back of the car at Ansley Mall, and they bashed my windows and stole my guitar. And it's the guitar I learned to play on. I was 15 when I got it, and I was heartbroken all night. Like, I couldn't sleep the whole next day. I was just a mess, and I get a call from Marta that says, you left your guitar in our bus.
Oh, my God.
And I said, no. I said, did I? They said, well, your name's in the guitar. So, yeah, we've got it.
Oh, unbelievable.
And I guess they and I had computers in my trunk from work, so I guess they had their hands full and just said it, left the guitar on the bus, and I went and got it, and I got it back. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, dude.
I can't believe I got the guitar back.
When my truck got stolen, it was gone for 3 days. And then like 3 days later, the bar owner called me up and he was like, hey, man, what kind of truck do you have? I said, GMC Jimmy. I said, the license plate's 7 Sonic. He goes, it just pulled up across the street from the bar.
Holy
Some
shit.
dude was wasted. He was cold. And he just jumped in the first running car he could find, drove it home, sobered up, and came back into town, dropped it off right across the street from the bar. Nothing moved.
Nice.
Nothing was gone. All my drums were. I think they took like a $30 watch, and I was like,
take it. Take the watch.
Like, you want to press charges? I'm like, nah, man, dude, I got all my stuff.
He was
back.
gold.
But it was such a learning experience.
Yeah, right.
It's like it makes sense, man. It's like it's amazing to me that so many musicians don't even know about it. They don't even know you can insure your gear.
Yeah.
Or they think, oh man, it's too expensive. It's like, dude, it's like one gig.
Or they think their car insurance covers it or their homeowner's insurance covers it.
Yep.
And they're not sure. They don't know. Yeah, you learn the hard way. That's awesome. My dad has a great story. He had a mic, a really expensive mic, and he would put his name in everything.
Inscribe it?
So uncover it, put his name in, and cover it back up, all the mics and everything. 20 years later, he's playing a gig, and dude's got his mic. He says, that's my mic. The guy's like, no, it's not. He goes, it's my mic. And he pulls the top off of it, and he pulls it out, and he goes, see? It's my mic. And he screws it back on and takes it back with him.
Yeah. I'll be taking this with me.
I'll be taking this with me. Then why does that have my name in it?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Douche. All right, so let's talk some serious stuff.
Okay.
Let's talk Hawks.
Oh man,
dude, you are a massive Hawks fan. You're a Hawks brother.
I'm a Hawks bro, man.
You're a Hawks bro.
I'm a Hawks bro.
What is this? What is this Hawks bro?
What's that?
What is it? What is it? It's a group of people, right? That get together. Or is it just you?
I think it's just kind of like a hashtag.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of the six man group that's at my friend Larry Luke started it. He's a designer here in town, but it's just, I don't know, man. It's the Hawk family. It's people that like live or die with them. I live and die with them, man. It's, you know, it's crazy because I grew up like south of Chicago. I grew up, Fairbury was like 2 hours south of Chicago. So like I grew up in the Jordan era. So the Bulls were like everything for me as a kid growing up. But my second favorite team was always the Hawks. One, I loved their uniforms. Two, Dominique was a monster.
What a beast.
Dude, beast. You know, I loved Doc Rivers when he played with him. Spud Webb. I mean, so I always was. I was like,
I'm trying to get Spud on.
Are you?
I'm trying to get Spud to come in.
Dude, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I moved to Atlanta, I was like, oh my God, dude. I said, I've got an NBA team right here. And I just fell in love with the Hawks, man. I started going to games like crazy. I try to go to about 10 to 15 games a year at least.
Do you remember Bob Weiss?
Yeah.
So I was coaching kids soccer, and Bob Weiss is walking in, his kid's running up, and I'm like, there's two teams. We're meeting our team, and I'm like, come on, please be my team. Please be my team. And he runs in, he's my team.
Awesome.
So I coached his kid, and Bob Weiss was cool. His wife was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, man.
And just they were down to earth and cool, and we got to sit under the basket a few times, and you know, go in the locker room.
The
and
games
meet
are a
folks.
blast,
God,
man.
They're really a blast.
It's like people are like, oh, I'm like, dude, and it's always the same, man. It's like people like, I'll take friends of mine like, man, I'm not really a basketball guy, you know, I'm really more of a football guy or this guy, soccer guy, and I'm like, dude, just come to a game with me. So whenever I take a friend of mine who's never been to a game before, I say we're gonna go down there and we'll go to Taco Mac, get some beers in us, get some grub, and then we'll get in as soon as they open the doors. He goes, man, that early? I'm like, trust me.
Oh yeah, you gotta see the warm ups.
Yeah,
you gotta be there for all that.
Party a little bit before.
Probably a little bit too. Yeah, maybe.
You know? But we'll go in there and I'll take them right down front while they're warming up and stuff. And the look on people's face when they see a dude who's 6'10", almost 300 pounds, moving like a wide receiver.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
It's insane, man. The athleticism that these guys have is insane. Like I've seen LeBron James like from like third row 3 times.
Wow.
And that dude, it's like people don't realize he's 6'9", almost 270 pounds.
Is he that heavy?
He's a big dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
He's 260.
He is. And they move again. They move like nothing. I went to Falcons training camp a couple years ago, and oh God, I'm gonna lose his name. Little running back. We had a little running back at the time. It'll come to me. But just watching his
Warren. Oh man, what's his name?
No, not work done.
Okay.
It was like 3 years ago.
Okay.
I'll remember his name. Thighs are like this big, but just the way he moved, his center of gravity never changed.
Yeah.
He cut. He did all the drills, and you just looked at me, you're like, it's from another planet.
Yeah.
Like how this guy is moving and the things that he's doing.
Yeah.
Pro athletes, just in general. Do you know? You know Jeff Spirko?
Yeah. Of course.
He was a monster lacrosse player. Tore both ACLs, which ended his career. I know, but I've played basketball with him and done all kinds of stuff. Freak athlete, just an absolute freak.
I tried to play basketball. I was playing basketball at a gym across the street from where I live in East Atlanta. Is at this old church, and I was definitely like one of the oldest guys in the gym. But I was running over there like every Monday night and stuff. And then one night I got kneed in the thigh, and I was kind of like, oh. And then I got a scratch on my neck. A dude fouled me really bad. I got a scratch on my neck, and I was on the bus, and Kristian was like, what'd you do to your neck? And I was like, I got fouled. He was like, be careful, man.
Careful.
I was like, dang it, man. But, no, dude, I played college baseball. I played baseball in college. I played some semi-pro baseball as a pitcher, and it's that is another thing, man. It's like that has definitely like influenced my playing.
Yeah.
Because drumming is very... Music is athletic, man.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the thing I love about basketball, man. Basketball has such a rhythm to it. It's like different from any other sport. Like it literally is a bounce. There is a bounce to the music. There's a bounce to the culture. There's a bounce to the rhythm, to the way the ball moves, the way the guys run. It's just like, man.
And then when one team gets the momentum going, the rhythm between the difference in the rhythm between the team that's got the momentum and the team that doesn't, you can see it, man. You can feel it.
It's beautiful.
It's something. All right, so I was telling you my experience with Dennis Schroeder. Last year, I worked downtown right off of 14th Street, and he'd come down all the time in his chrome car. And I've never yelled. I'm not a big, I'm not overwhelmed by, stars or personalities. I've been around it enough. But so I finally wanted to yell at him. He'd had a great game, and I was like, Dennis, and he storms over. Here I'm barely 5'6". He's what? How was he? 6'6"?
Yeah,
6'7", something like that.
He's about 6. I think he's 6'2" or 6'3". I think.
Okay.
He's
Big old
he's
blonde thing. He comes storming over. Why do people think they can talk to me? Why do you talk to me all the time? Like, I owe you to talk to me. And I'm like, dude, I just said, hey, Dennis, come on. And then now he got traded. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm so happy he got traded. When he demanded to be traded, I was like, yeah, they're not going to keep him.
No.
He's done. Thank you.
No.
Good riddance. Bye-bye.
I'm really excited to see Trae Young, man.
So, all right. What do we have in Trae Young? What do you think we have? What do we have?
I love Trae Young, man. I think, he's just a kid that he's a kid that he wants to prove. Here's the thing. There's a lot of guys that are coming into the league out of high school now or out of college now because they get that one and done, and they get blown up and their image gets blown up and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And Trae, he just got blown. No one knew who he was. And then all of a sudden last year, he led the nation in points and in assists, and his name blew up, right? But then his team just wasn't that great, so he had to take on all the burden.
Yeah.
And he just didn't finish real well because everybody just cued in on him. So the thing I love about him is that he's probably the one guy in the draft who people are just not giving him a chance.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's nothing I like more than the underdog.
Well, he had that terrible couple of first games at Summer League.
Yeah, but then he
lit it up.
But the thing was, it was like, even on those games, like everybody was like, oh man, he's not shooting well. I'm like, dude, he had like 15 dimes.
Yeah.
Did you see his passes? It's like, I don't care if I honestly, man, if he can put up 20 a game, I'd be really happy. I'm excited about him like making moves and all of a sudden flipping a ball up to like John the Baptist Collins, bringing it down from freaking the rafters.
Yeah. I think we have a good start.
Yeah, man.
We need to hit on some drafts, and we need to be good enough to get a free agent in here.
I don't want us to tank. I hate the idea of tanking.
Yeah.
But dude, if we could get Zion Williamson,
it would be unbelievable.
That kid, he's 6'8". They listed him at 285 pounds. And he's dunking from the free throw line. He had 29 points in like his first game at Duke.
Wow.
It's like the kids, man. I'm telling you, it's like the human race is like, we're evolving physically. I just hope we catch up mentally someday.
Yeah, right? Right? No doubt. I'm hoping that we're not good enough to be mediocre and get that 5 and 6 pick. We're either really good and we're a few pieces away, or
here's the thing though. We're also like, there's other picks from other teams that we now have for next year.
Right.
I think next year we could technically have like 3 or 4 first round picks. So if like, I think, is it the Nets? I forget who we did a trade with, but like we get their first round pick if they suck.
Well, let's hope they suck.
Yeah, man.
Let's hope we can get it and still be competitive. I mean, it's getting too good. Right now, the soccer team is leading the way.
Yeah.
Landing United is...
I haven't been to a game yet. I've been begging to go to a game.
Yeah,
I just haven't had a
either.
chance to.
I want to go.
I want to go so bad.
And then we've got the Braves look like they're a year early. They're going to be a freaking power again. I spent growing up, we didn't have a winner. I mean, I had 3 reasons to watch. Gary Matthews.
I don't want to hear it.
Dale Murphy.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You guys won 14 straight division championships.
She's born.
I grew up a Cub fan, bro.
Yeah,
I went 102 freaking years of. I went through the Bartman game.
That guy got a bad rap, though.
I mean,
it's a bad.
I don't want to hear any complaints from Braves fans.
So, no, she was 14 before they had a losing season.
Yeah,
like she lived 13 years. It's like, I
she
don't know.
Grew
The
up in
Braves
the Bobby
win.
Cox and the Smoltz Maddox, the arms, the electric arms era.
Yeah. She's like, I only know a few things. 1, the Braves are going to win, and 2, I'll die one day. And those are the only 2 constants in my life. I grew up like they lost everything, and then they had one good year in '80 with Joe Torre.
Yeah,
or '80 somewhere in there. And I've got that ball. I have a ball signed by
that was like
entire
the Bob
team.
Horner, Dale Murphy era.
Yeah, I've got a ball from that too. Rick Mailer was a neighbor of mine, and he took me to a game, and he got a ball for me, and I still have it.
That's
I went
nice.
to sell it a couple years ago, and it was worth $72. I was like, nah.
Dude, one of the best nights for me as a sports fan was when the Cubs beat the Braves in that Game 5 here in Atlanta to win our first postseason series in over 100 years. It's like people were like crying, like Cub fans, like everybody was hugging each other and balling. Braves fans were just like, you guys suck. You guys suck. I'm just like, dude, that's all you can say.
Your boyfriend's a Cubs fan, right, Sam? Sam's a diehard. He's a diehard Cubs fan, so I can't get away from it.
Man, honestly, it's like I'm still a Cubs fan because my family is big time Cubs fan. My family is actually divided. My family is part Cardinal fan, part Cub fan.
Ooh.
So it's
talk about a disparity in winning.
Yeah.
The
Cardinal I go home to Illinois, man. My mom always puts a sign up: no politics, no sports, no talk about money.
It's good. I
Can't talk about those three things.
So growing up, we had the Braves on TV every night, and we had the Cubs on TV every day.
WGN, man.
Yeah, WGN, Harry Carey. So those are my two favorite teams, and then of course I like the Yankees because of Reggie Jackson.
Yeah,
and all of that. So sports. But so in Atlanta, you had two things. You were a homer, rooted for a home team, and then you had to have another team that had a chance.
Did you watch the Falcons game last night?
God, how can we have all those Cadillacs and Ferraris and not be able to score a touchdown?
Dude,
with them?
I tell you what, there is not here's the thing about the Falcons right now that drives me crazy. And it's like I try to get into football. It's like the NFL kind of wears me out. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like the way they handle their business and stuff, I'm kind of over it. All the sorry about that. All the concussion thing and all that, it's making it harder to watch the game.
Hey, we fell on the quarterback. We tackled the quarterback and got a roughing the passer. He just fell on him. He didn't even drive him in the ground. It's gonna be
flag.
On him.
It's gonna be flag football someday.
It is.
Everybody needs to embrace that. But what I hope happens, here's what I want to see happen. I want Australian rules football to come here. That would be amazing. Bring Australian rules football here. But dude, is there a team in the league that fears us if we have a fourth quarter lead?
No.
I don't think there is.
No.
There is not a team. It's like if you get down to like if you get down to the Patriots and you're down 21-0,
you're done.
In the fourth quarter,
You're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
They know how to win the game. I literally sat there last night and it's like you could feel the crowd in Philadelphia kind of going, oh, and you could feel everything kind of shifting like, okay, well, this looks like the Falcons are going to walk out of here with a win. And I'm like, it ain't over. Sure enough, man, Philly walked down. I was just like, God, I've never seen a team just lose a lead like them.
So,
and not be able to score.
We need a state law against the wide receiver screen. Like it needs to be illegal, like a misdemeanor to call
Hand the ball off.
Hand the ball off. Remember that the quick wide receiver slant, 2 steps, boom, hit Julio on a quick slant, boom, fake out, boom, he's in. We've got it. I mean, what is this? He threw 4 balls last night, every one of them out of bounds.
Yeah,
not one of them catchable.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
Oh well, I see. We're on a.
But here's the thing, and like everybody talks about, like everybody's giving Matty Ice hell today, but the thing is, it's like it's like I think Matty Ice is one of the greatest quarterbacks. I think he's an amazing quarterback.
Yeah, I do too.
But the thing is, he's got to go up to coach and just go, listen, man, let me call the plays. No one gave Peyton Manning plays.
Yeah, no.
Did they have an offensive? They had an offensive coordinator, yes, to teach the other guys how to run the plays.
Yeah.
No one told Peyton Manning what plays to run. No one tells Tom Brady what plays to run.
And how come when we were running no huddle and it ran so well, why did Sarkisian? Why does he go away from it? Why does he go away from it?
He's hitting the sauce again.
Oh my God! You know what? I think if he hit the sauce, it would be better for us.
Oh man,
maybe that's the problem. I don't want to wish anyone to lose their sobriety, but I would like to see our offense
Falcons
get better.
Fans, we got a long year ahead of us.
Yeah, we do.
It's gonna be stressful. I'm ready for Hawks season to get here, man. It's like after that game last night, man. I was like, I'm like, okay, it's time to put my Hawks flag out. I'm gonna put the Hawks flag out front of the house. It's time.
Cool. Well, let's. We got lots of other stuff to talk about, so let's do this again.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Do this again, get a product out. I'm actually coming to see it tonight.
Awesome.
Where are you at?
How do I pronounce it? How do you pronounce it?
You call it pasties, but I think it's pasties. I don't know.
Pasties in Roswell. I'm playing with my buddy Justin, who I played at Fado Irish Pub in Buckhead back in the day for 5 straight years. It's a fun show, man. It's great.
Were you here when Buckhead was in its heyday?
Well, I moved here in 2001, so I caught.
You caught maybe
I caught like the last.
Yeah, no, you caught a little bit of it.
Yeah, about the last third of it.
Yeah,
probably. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, when I moved here, man, it was like I was playing. Once I got into that circuit, man, as a drummer for hire, I was playing like Wednesday night, Thursday night, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday.
Did you ever do the Metropolitan Pizza gig?
No, I never did the Met.
You know what that was? You know what their gig was? Start at 11, finish at 4.
Oh, well,
that was almost everywhere back then.
Yeah, Buckhead Saloon was 10 till 4, 11 till 4.
God, 4.
Then here's the one you would play. You would play Buckhead Saloon, or you would play at Park Bench with Fran.
Yeah,
which was like 6 hours, no breaks.
Yeah.
And then you would pack up, and then you would go play the Riviera, and the Riviera was open till like 6 a.m. or something like that.
They changed,
dude.
but you know it was so stupid. We wouldn't even go out till 10.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. 10:30, I'd be getting out. And so now they moved the time out back to now it closes at 2. It's so much more reasonable. I can start winding a Smithsville bar set down about 12:45 or 1.
The thing is now, man, at my age, I'm like 2 is too late.
Yeah, 2.
Nobody needs to be playing after midnight, man. Yeah. 2 is too late. 2 is too late. Nothing good's happening.
Have you yelled "Get off my lawn" yet?
Huh?
Have you yelled "Get off my lawn" yet?
Not yet.
I'm getting close. If I had a lawn, I'd be yelling it.
Yeah, not yet, man. I mean, I don't think I'll ever be the "Get off my lawn" guy.
I'm lawn. I can't. I'm already that guy.
Definitely, I'm not. I don't go out. I refuse to go to a smoky bar.
No, I won't do it.
Won't do it. Will not do it anymore.
You know when you've made it?
Ain't worth it.
When you've made it is when you're Yacht Rock Schooner or your Electric Avenue and you play Dixie Tavern and they do no smoking night for you.
Well, but that's what's cool. Like a lot of the clubs here in town, like even the Star Bar, man. Star Bar will do a non-smoking night for you.
Kale will do it?
Yeah.
Talk Kale into a no smoking?
Yeah, or Brian, or whoever does the booking there. But yeah, they'll do a non-smoking gig. I mean, it still smells like smoking there because it's a Star Bar, but but yeah, man, it's just, I don't know, man. I guess that's my get off my lawn is like I'm not playing somewhere smoking.
You are so lucky, producer Sommer. We got Sommer producing over here. So lucky. You didn't have those nothing but smoking bars everywhere. Oh. To include when you went to IHOP and you said no smoking and they sat you in a chair with a little tiny window and smoking over here. It was like it was everywhere. Oh, you do remember that, don't you?
I remember that. It was like till I was like 6 or 7 or maybe a little later. I remember all that.
Dude, I know we're running late, but I got a little funny story about
Tell it.
So one night I was playing at Buckhead Saloon, and I was playing there. I did a Thursday night there with Justin, and then I did Friday and Saturday with Aaron Thompson and like Hank Barbie and all those dudes, and Bird.
We need a bell. We need a bell to ring every time Aaron Thompson and Hank Barbie comes up in here, because everybody that sat over there has brought up Hank and Aaron every single time. The best record I've ever done in my life. Eric Fram and I produced a record with the Zero Chance record, and it was with Aaron.
He produced the Big Jack Pneumatic record I did with them back in the day.
He's good.
He's great. But anyway, so I played there Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. And like I think it was Friday night, it rained. So like, it was just like a tarp for a roof. It's like everything was just gross, and it was just smoky and just everything was just gross. So that Sunday I went and had a church gig. So I'm loading my drums into church, and this is how bad it was. Like when I think about this story, I'm like, God, I couldn't believe I was breathing that for that long. This guy's like hanging the name of the church, and I'm not going to say the name of the church, but the guy's hanging the name of the church above my drum set on a ladder, and my drum set's down on there, and I've wiped it off pretty well.
Yeah.
And he's hanging it up. All of a sudden he goes, "Hey everybody, can I have everybody's attention?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he goes, "I think somebody's gotten sick up here." And everybody's like, "What?" And he goes, "Somebody threw up here. somebody threw up here. And so next thing you know, like all the people at the church, like the band, everybody's like searching, like, did you throw up? Is somebody here sick? And we're like, no, I'm not sick. Are you sick? No, I'm not sick. And everybody's like looking. He goes, no, somebody threw up here. And so like they got people like looking behind the curtains and looking around the back of the stage. And finally I'm like, man, what are you talking about? And I walk up to there and I'm like, man, what are you talking about? And I go, oh no, dude, that's my drums. My drums reeked of cigarette smoke, vomit, whatever. Cigarette smoke, Jaeger, beer, sweat, probably mold. Just
you got to have that church kit, man, that just goes to church with you.
I had one time I was playing at that church and I had a gig with the Swear the night before. And the Swear were like back in those days, you used to rock the eyeliner on stage, right? And so I'm like, I get done with rehearsal. We did done with sound check and everything. And the music director comes up. He goes, hey, Ken, how's it going? I'm like, great. And he goes, did you have a gig last night with the Swear? I'm like, yeah, man. How'd you know? And he goes, you still got your eyeliner on. I was rocking eyeliner in church.
Hey, now no one would think too.
Nobody would think twice.
Anything of it.
He is really modern.
He's really modern.
Gosh,
so
hip.
Talk about the Atlanta music scene. That's another thing that fuels this Atlanta music scene are those church gigs.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that you got your Oral Roberts master's degree in music at every church. I mean, those are some pretty amazing musicians in all of these churches. So I run sound at my church. I used to. I don't have the temperament anymore to run sound.
It's a weird gig, bro.
It is a weird gig.
I'm not an anti-church guy. But the church gig, it's a weird gig. You got to put up with a lot.
It is
very passive.
It takes a very well. So it depends on who the leader or the worship leader is, right?
Sure.
So I've seen some pretty rough ones. You're right, very passive. The church I'm at.
Yeah, really great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. That's great. And you know, like in their head, they're going, "I hate you."
Yeah, it's good. God. Don't worry, but God has nothing but forgiveness for you in your performance today. The good news is you're forgiven. It's like, no, for me, the sound gig thing is I had two things. I always get poked, and I'm in sound, and there's like, everybody comes up behind you, and you're into it. Like I'm I'm here, I'm in the freaking sound waves, and I get poked, and I would yell, I would lose my mind, which isn't a good thing to do in church. But then the other thing was, no matter how great I thought it sounded, there were 5 people that had a whole different opinion, and they were all come up afterwards
because they're smart,
but they say it so nice,
Yeah.
Just want to tell you, it would be a much more enjoyable experience if we could hear the lead vocals more. And then right behind that is another lady that says, oh, man. I just, the lead vocals just pierced my ears. They pierced it. And I'm like, really? Because she couldn't hear it. And I injured you with them.
I remember I had a horrible train wreck one time on a gig at a church. I was playing at a big church in Marietta. And the keyboard, it was such a big church that they had 2 sanctuaries. They had the main sanctuary, which held probably 2,000 people, and then a side sanctuary we were in probably held 900 people. Huge church. Both sanctuaries had live bands, full live bands on stage.
Yeah.
They're all running off the same click with the same tracks, ran by our music director who's playing the piano upstairs in our sanctuary. So his laptop is basically being fed through the entire church.
Oh, wow.
I'm on like 2 hours of sleep. I'm definitely hungover. I partied. I had a gig the night before till like 4 a.m. Had to be there at 7 a.m. or something like that. And we're playing a song. It's in 6/8. Dun, 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 right? And we're in the middle of that song, and his laptop goes poof, and falls on the floor. And everything, like all the clicks and all the tracks and everything stopped. So I don't know what happened. I mean, it doesn't really ever happen to me on stage like this, but I just freaking panicked. And we start the next song, which is supposed to go dun dun dun, like a 4/4 pulse. I start the next song. Dun, 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 dun. The thing was, it was like, and everybody's like, it's in 4/4. And I'm like, I can't get out of it. Because you can't just go dun, 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 dun. It's like it's gonna be obvious it's a mistake. So I just kept rolling with it, and I'm just like I'm sitting there going, when can I break out of the 6/8 into the 4/4? When can I do it? I can't get out. I'm stuck. But the audience is like, man, their hands are in the air. It's like, oh, that 6/8 vibe, man.
Yeah.
We do the 6/8 thing in church, man. It's all about it. But the problem is the band downstairs actually played it on the right tempo. So when they got done, the pastor started speaking. So because I played it in 6/8, our song lasted about a minute and a half longer than their song.
No.
So when we got done playing, the pastor was already halfway through his message.
Oh, no.
I was like, well. I said, man, that's what happens when you
I've had that with keys. I have learned there are certain songs I can't put together.
Yeah.
Because I can't get in the key the next song. I can't find the key. I've been on stage singing and just looking around. People are like, giving me the words. I'm like, it's not it.
That same church, man, I had to play on a V drum kit.
Oh, the electronic?
Oh my God.
Man, those. So the one at our church,
hated it.
you had to hit right at the middle. Otherwise, it was click. It didn't make the sound.
This church, I came back from. It wasn't that day, but it was another day. And I thought I was like, I'm getting fired for this. We come back from the prayer. We're walking. We creep back on stage.
Yep.
While the way it works is the band plays for like 3 songs. And then they start doing the message and everything. And while they're doing that, the band's backstage getting crunk on coffee and donut holes.
Yep.
We're sugaring up and caffeining up because most of us have only had like 2 hours of sleep. So we're like creeping back up on stage during the mess right at the end of the prayer. So it's like it's really quiet in the place, and he's really into his message and into the prayer. And I sit down behind the drum set, which is an electronic drum set, with a screen around it, which I never really understood.
Yeah, you don't need
why
it
do
with
you
the
have this?
electronic.
Why do you have the screen? Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and everybody's just kind of hanging out. All of a sudden, I hear this. This cymbal crash starts going off, and I'm literally I'm not even moving, and the band's like looking at me, going, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I'm just like, I'm just sitting here. It's nothing. And then I'm like, okay. And the guy's still talking. So I kind of like open my eyes up, and the audience is still in prayer. I'm like, okay, it's not in the mains. It's not in the mains. It's only in our ears. And I start looking around, and sure enough, man, one of the 1/4-inch jacks that plugs into one of the cymbals
it'd come out.
had worked itself loose. And I was like, never again. Never again. Not playing an electronic kit ever again.
I got fired from, it's now one of the biggest churches in Atlanta. I won't say the name, but it was in a strip mall at the time, and I was running sound. And I was talking to somebody. Pastor finished, and I walked over. Somebody kept trying to get my attention. I'm talking to him, and then you hear flush as I'm running. And then them bathroom banter. I'm running to the soundboard to get it off, to mute them like as fast as I can. I can't get it fast enough. It's so boom. And weirdly enough, they never scheduled me again to run sound. Never. It's like, dude, when he walks off stage, you hit the button, mute, you're good. Yep. He's done. No, So I got out of that. Commitment pretty quick. Oh, I did a show. Do you remember Little Elmo's Blues Parlor? Because that's probably before you came here. That was a big blues bar in Buckhead. And we had some big blues act from Chicago. The place completely packed. I'm running sound, and the lead singer, I've got the gain all the way up. I got the volume all the way up. And his mic, he can't get enough volume. He keeps tapping it, and he's not having it. He's got a big crowd. They're on it, and he needs more volume, and he is not having it. I'm like, damn it, that mic is going bad. So I grab a cable. I grab a new mic. I set all the settings up. I get it ready. I put the gain back where it should be normal, and I run up to the snake, and I have to lean. It's on the side of the stage. I have to lean to the side of the stage. My leg's up in the air. I've got the cable to go over, and I hit the cable on the snake that had worked its way out, and it made full connection. And it stopped. Everybody's looking at me. I got my leg balleted up in the air. It's like, it's a big, huge highlight. Yeah, it is me. I have done this. And I had to make my way through the crowd all the way to the back of the room to get it to turn off, and the band quit it and wouldn't play anymore. And that's my worst
sound
guy moment, man.
Sound guys have it tough sometimes, man.
That's why you have to have a second chair to go handle that. So you got someone you got to be near that mute button at all times.
Yep.
So yeah, I've had some pretty rough. I've seen a sound guy cry on a show at Snow Mountain. It was an outdoor gig. He couldn't get it right. The band was giving him crap, and he just started crying. I was like, dude, you are probably 60 years old. This is not the end of the world. It is not death or jail. Yeah. You do not need to be crying.
Never cry in jail.
Never cry behind a soundboard. You can't do that. You don't have the makeup for this, pal. Not even close. Oh man, good stuff.
He's probably not working for Marilyn Manson, I'm guessing.
He's not working for it. I think that was his one and only stint. It doesn't look that hard. Just turn the sound.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It is a ton of responsibility. Being a DJ is the first thing on the worst job ever, and then you kick down to sound guy, and then everything else I've done in my life goes way, way, way after that. Being a DJ was the worst. I was a DJ when you switched from cassettes to CD.
Oh no!
And the CD skipped every time they started dancing because it would hit and we didn't have the tapes. So we were putting paper under the table and doing everything we could. We were holding it with our hands so that it wouldn't skip. Yeah, I've learned a lot of lessons, man.
Good times, man.
Good
learning
times.
Lessons.
Learning lessons.
That's the secret to today's podcast.
It is.
Learn lessons every day.
Learn lessons. Expand your sphere of knowledge. Well, this has been a blast, my brother.
Yeah, dude.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, I'd love to come up anytime, man. This is a great setup.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, we'll see you tonight.
Yeah, man.
There's some bunch of links down below. I think it's down below.
You guys suck. I can't hear the singer.
Listen, the worst heckle I've ever gotten consistently has been from my father. Every time. There was one time I'm telling a story, and he's like, shut up and get to the song. I'm like, thanks, Dad. Just play the song, for God's sake.
Quit preaching, dude.
All right. You know what? Let's see if I have it up. Do I have it up? We've got to go out. We got to go out the way we came in. Boom. Here it is. Oh, I wish you guys could see this. We got the top. This is a top-down view I'm looking at now. We've just switched. Yes. Beautiful. All right, Kent Aberle, we're out. Thanks, brother.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.